Hello, everyone. Today, I've got a pretty important topic to discuss. It's a question I juggled with for a long time, and even to this day, I'm still surprised that you know the main topic of the day is how the hell did Lorne survive 5 years in jail? And I'm still surprised that he did. I mean, it's almost more likely that he died on his first day there and he was cloned. Like after 5 years, they say, okay, that guy is supposedly still alive. He needs to get out now. Oh, let's make a clone. I mean, let's face it. Let's assume you didn't know anything about Lorne. Well, let's assume you didn't know. Like you just know he's going to jail. What would be your prediction on how long he's going to survive? My guess is 10 minutes. And the first 9 minutes would be like him getting beaten. And on the 10th minute, his heart would give up. That's basically what I would expect, what you would expect from Lorne in jail. But somehow, through some miracle, he managed to survive his sentence in a relatively good shape. If you look at him in his recent sex offender picture, he looks almost happy. He looks calm. He doesn't have his face like burnt with acid. He's still able to walk. That was in bad taste. So that's an interesting question to study. And Lorne, because he can't shut the fuck up, gives us a few hints on how he survived jail. The first hint he gives is that he admits that he spent the first 2 years in solitary. It must be pretty bizarre. I don't know. I don't know much about that world, but you have a 5-year sentence and he spends 2 years in solitary confinement. First, how the hell did he get put there? I mean, what happened to make him put there? Was it like a preventive action? Like, let's say you're the warden and you see Lorne Armstrong coming to your jail, and you look at what he did. Do you do like, okay, we're gonna place him in solitary. We're not gonna risk it, I doubt the warden would give a shit. I doubt anyone gave a shit to place him in solitary. Nobody's gonna oh, you're a child molester. You're gonna get abused in jail. We're gonna place you in solitary right away, my poor sir. So I have to guess that Lorne quite possibly got abused, and quite possibly the inmates forced him into solitary. Maybe they beat the shit out of him and they say, the next time we kill you. And then Lorne was forced to go into solitary. That makes more sense than the preventive. But these days, with all the lawsuits and all, we don't know. Maybe they automatically put all pedos in preventive, protective custody. In his lawsuits, Lorne talks about being, in protective custody, and he says, for example, I'm afraid to go on the yard because the other inmates know who I am. And he basically says, I spend my weekends in my jail cell working on my lawsuit against NBC. I'm afraid to get punched in the yard. He says that to his psychologist at one point, and the psychologist doesn't give a shit. She's just writes it, and she doesn't care. And he blames NBC at one point in his final appeal when his dementia reaches his paroxysm. He basically says, if NBC had not shown me on TV, I would not have to suffer abuse from other inmates. So he got his ass whooped a couple of times. He got beaten. He got abused. But he doesn't look to have been stabbed or stuff like that. That's what I would expect from Lorne. If I was in jail and Lorne Armstrong was in front of me, I'm gonna stop my sentence here. But imagine you go to jail and you're like a serial killer, and you get arrested, and when you were a kid you were molested by your uncle, and then Lorne's arrived and he's a convicted attempted rapist. My guess on Lorne's life expectancy would certainly be less than a day. And that raises an obvious question: is that okay? Should we do more to protect people like Lorne? That's an interesting question that I would answer with no, but that's not today's topic. Today's topic, I want to focus on the mechanism he used to survive 5 years. One of the ways that people have hypothesize is he used the money from his mommy to buy stuff from the canteen and give to other inmates. That makes sense. His mom sent him like nearly like I think it's $100 a month. He writes in his informa pauperis letter application form. So $100 a month. I don't know. It seems pretty cheap to buy protection. I'm not an expert, but if I could buy protection right now for $100 a month, I would do it. Like if a guy came to me and he says, "Nathaniel, give me $100 and I'll cover your ass," I would do it, like nobody's going to attack you, nobody's going to mess with you. It seems pretty cheap. Maybe the tariffs in jail are a bit different. I know some people, like from what I remember, I did watch one documentary, and they say like if you offer your dessert to someone to kill someone else, he's going to do it. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. Like I don't think somebody's going to, let's say you're convicted for 15 years, you're not going to risk like lifetime just for one dessert. That makes no sense. I think they were talking about gangs and all that. If you kill another gang member, you have to kill another gang member or else we won't protect you. That makes more sense to me. But that raised my new point. Do you think that Lorne joined a gang in jail? I mean, that's pretty much one of the only reasons. Like, if he's protected by a gang, that would explain how he survived, But to me, that doesn't make sense because what gang is going to want him? It's not like there's a gang of child molesters in jail, and usually, like, child molesters are like Lorne, they're fucking pussies, they don't know how to fight, When the only person you have to fight is 13 years old, you don't need to be that much of a fighter, And when, so I don't think that Lorne joined a gang. Like, what gang? Maybe he has a tattoo on his back, like a swastika or Kayla, I don't know. Like this fucker asked for the pictures of Kayla. I want all the pictures of Kayla. Why? You were gonna stare at them for an hour in your cell. In many ways, Lorne's life didn't change much because of jail. He did pretty much the same thing outside and inside, In fact, he probably had better food in jail. And you're probably thinking, no way, the food is horrible in jail. Well, the food is horrible when Lorne was living, When you eat frozen food, at least the jail has a cafeteria and they cook food, It's not high gastronomy, but they still, I know they cook beef and rice, Sure, it's probably under-seasoned and overcooked, but let's face it, there's no way Lorne's food wasn't overcooked outside of jail. And he was sleeping on the floor. He's still sleeping on the floor. He was sleeping with cockroaches and rats. The same applies to jail. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe Lorne's life improved in jail. That's another interesting topic that I would like to discuss. But still, outside he was staring at Kayla's picture for an hour. Now he can spend his day doing that in jail. To go back to the main topic. How could he survive? Well, he could bribe inmates, could buy them gifts. But I'm not sure he earns enough. Like, I don't know how much it costs to get protection in jail, but I'm guessing you have to bribe more than one person. Like, it's not like you can go like to a big guy and say, "Hey, I'm going to give you $100 and you don't let anybody attack me." The boss is going to ask more. He's not going to be like, yeah, $100, that's a lot of money. Like, those people are criminals, like they're drug dealers. $100 is nothing. Protection money should be much higher than that, in my opinion, in jail. Or maybe not. Maybe those people are so desperate for money because, they don't have access to their drug money inside of jail. And $100, it's more like symbolical. Like, if you weren't going to attack someone, now he gives you $100 for not attacking him, you take it. You were not going to attack him anyway, and you just made $100. But that theory about bribing inmates doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because Lorne, we know where he spent most of his money. Patches for cigarettes. Like, there's no way he wasn't smoking. There's no way he stopped smoking. Like, if I had to bet today, I'm almost certain he still smokes. That's the kind of stuff Lorne does. Doesn't make much sense, but Lorne does the kind of stuff he does. The weak coffee, he probably bought some snack because he's an impulsive, moronic kid. And, of course, all the papers and fees for his lawsuits against NBC. That's add ups, And I would say he sent an average of 2 letters a month to NBC. And that's an average over his sentence. Like, he sends dozens and dozens of letters for all his appeal. And not just NBC, but the federal. And he has to pay for, like, tracking. So overall, just in mailing fees, he paid approximately $25 a month minimum. Then there's the paper, there's all that, the photocopier fees and all. And you know, if Lorne bothers to return an item worth 60 cents, I'm guessing the money was kind of tight. So that gives credibility to my theory that Lorne did not bribe other inmates. So how else did he survive in jail? Because I'm going to go back to my main idea. My guess on child molesters is that they don't survive too long in jail. But then again, you don't hear about many of them dying. Like, if you name like a child molester that died in jail, you don't really hear about it. It's pretty rare these days, at least. You know, maybe 30 years ago it was more commonplace, but today, not many predators get killed in jail. You have to admit that. But let's change the question somehow. How the hell did Lorne not get beaten in jail every day of his life? Like, the inmates might not kill him for various reasons. You know, if you kill him, you get like life in prison, or you can get another sentence and all that. But they're still gonna abuse the molesters. Let's say you're in line at the cafeteria with Lorne, and you know who he is. You know what he tried to do. He's a disgusting piece of shit. And you have like some kind of I forgot the term, like a makeshift knife, you know. Like, I forgot the word, but there's a word for that in jail, like a skank. Is it a skank? Yeah, that's a skank. Now, do you skank Lorne? Do you stab him in the back? I wouldn't, because I'm not capable of violence, very honestly. But let's face it, the drug addict who went to jail because his uncle molested him when he was young, and to cope with the trauma of getting molested, he started doing drugs. And now he goes to jail and there's Lorne Armstrong right in front of him. There's no way he's not stabbing Lorne. But it's pretty serious. It's a pretty dark topic for today, but I think it's important. How the hell did that not happen? And we have Lorne's medical file. We know it didn't happen. Lorne never get abused up to the point where he needed surgery. So he never got stabbed, never got bones broken. And he's not carrying too many scars today. That's an interesting question, don't you know? How? Maybe, and that's my main theory, like the main reason. Maybe he's protected by God. Maybe while he was in jail, God protected him with his divine energy, you know? Like the shield of God. Like, that's the only explanation. What else could it be? Let's face it, Lorne went to a county jail in Kentucky, which is not, it's not the worst place ever, but it's still a jail. He's still with some pretty tough people. And then he went to federal prison, and I'm supposed to believe that he got out unscathed? No. Lorne got the shit beaten out of him a few times. That has to happen, right? I'm almost hoping that it does. I don't want to be mean, but I fucking hate Lorne. Fucking pedo piece of shit. Like, to just consider the fact that he's free and able to continue his life like nothing ever happened, except that he's a registered sex offender as a felon. But to know that he's free and he's probably molesting more kids and he still scammed all those people and he got away with it, that is so frustrating to me. It's not fair. There are some very good people fighting cancer and dying. Lorne, he has his little life, never injured, never sick. Fucking unfair. But let's go to the main topic. I think maybe God warned him, like, Lorne, do not go into that room. It's a trap. There are 6 people waiting to jump you. That could explain. Maybe he has a kind of what we call street smart, but maybe he just understood instinctively how not to get in a situation where he would get the shit beaten out of him. Maybe Lorne was made for jail. Maybe he knows exactly what to do. I mean, that would explain it, right? That would be a viable explanation. I mean, what else could it be? I mean, perhaps prison are not at all like I imagined them to be, but my guess is that in county jails, there are a couple of people that are there for a good while. Maybe not life, but at least 25 years. And they really don't care. I mean, they're going to get out, they're going to be like 65 if they get out, It's pretty tempting to beat the shit out of Lorne. Like, And in many ways, you kind of have to. Let's say you're the new inmates, and the prisoners come to you, and you join their gang. You know, not necessarily friends, but acquaintance. Then they say, look at that. That's Lorne Armstrong. He's a child rapist. He tried to rape a kid. Go beat the shit out of him. If you say no, maybe you're next on the list. You don't know, you know. But if you go and beat the shit out of Lorne, you earn respect. That's how I see jail. So to conclude, Lorne, to answer my question, Lorne probably survived because people dying in custody are pretty rare. Like there are some like Bernard Madoff. How did he not die in jail? Or there are some serial killers that survive and they live like 50 years in jail. And Lorne definitely wasn't as bad as a psychopathic serial killer. Almost, but not as bad. So I'm guessing that being murdered in prisons, Lorne wasn't in a maximum security prison. Maybe in a maximum, it's more like I think. He was in a medium, I think. Let's look at Luther's correctional. Let's see what it is like as a prison. Correctional facility, Kentucky. It's a medium, I think. Luther. I'm happy there's no like reviews of it. But let's see what kind of inmates they have, you know. They have, victim notification. Let's see the offenders there. Vine, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at all of them. Let's look at Armstrong. If we have any prisoners named Armstrong. There are a few. Let's see what kind of crime they did. Okay, burglary, stolen property, robbery, weapon, forgery, counterfeiting. Dangerous drugs, stolen property, dangerous drugs. You see, that's the kind of, not the most serious crimes in the world. There are crimes like assault, assault, dangerous drug, forgery, burglary, stolen property. Those are crimes. I'm not saying that they're not criminal. They're criminals, and they're probably like obscenity. Like what the hell? What the hell? You got sent to prison for obscenity? What the hell did you do, man? Now I'm curious. No, not that curious. Oh, possession of material portrays sex performance by minor. Okay, I guess that's obscenity. Okay, but all this to say, there's no like a triple murder, a torturing, homicide. Vincent Armstrong. He looks like a pretty chill fellow. Pretty interesting to know that he murdered someone. Vito Armstrong. That's a murderer. Okay, homicide. He must serve minimum 20% of sentence for robbery. Criminal, attempted murder. Violent crime. So there are a few bad guys there, but it's not like the worst criminals in the world. There's no like terrorism or a triple murder or manslaughter, you know. So maybe that explains why it's not as hardcore. Maybe in those kind of jail, nobody dies. Like they're all there to serve their sentence and get out. That would explain how he survived. So that's how I answer my question. He survived, but every day of his life, he had to watch his back. He got caught a few times and beaten. Probably not raped. Like, I don't think that happens anymore in jail. Maybe it does. I don't know, actually. I watched a documentary, and they say basically, no, they're too afraid of lawsuit, and it doesn't happen anymore. It's all check. I didn't totally believe the documentary, but they make a good case. So that may be what happened to Lorne. He got kicked and punched and, just sucker punched from the back, and he fell on the ground and all that. But nothing so serious. No stabbing, no breaking his legs and stuff like that. That would perhaps be the most likely explanation. And same for federal. I think he went to Fort Dix, New Jersey. Really? For this federal prison. FCI for this. It's a low security. It's a low security for male offender. Minimum security. So that's not really the place where he's gonna get attacked. That's the small crimes like thievery and burglary and all that. So that explains. I'm very happy managed to answer my question. That's how Lorne survived in jail. He went to easy jails. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I hope I answered the question well, and have a good night.